On Sunday night at the Daytona International Speedway, the 50 drivers attempting to make the Daytona 500 hit the track for single car qualifying, and it was the veteran and the experienced Brandon Bent who came out on top to grab his first ever pole in the Daytona 500 and his 15th career Cup Series pole. For Sarah Taylor and Roberto Crown Jr., they were able to qualify their way into the 500 by going extremely well in the single car qualifying session on Sunday. For 16 other go-homers, it comes down to tonight. These are the Kroger Duels, who will determine our field of 42 for the 7th Gratton Cup Series Daytona 500 on Sunday. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Daytona International Speedway, Daytona Beach, Florida, once again for the Kroger Duels here at the Daytona International Speedway. Tonight, we set the field of 42 for the Daytona 500 on Sunday. My name is Stuart Gratton. We'll be joined by Isaac Nichols, the owner of Nicotech Racing in Duel 1, and Tyson Gifford, the owner of Gifford Technologies Incorporated in Duel 2. Looking forward to this one here tonight. It's going to be 15 laps of action across the two duels. There are 16 drivers in the go-home category that need to race their way in here tonight. We know that two of them, Sarah Taylor and Roberto Crown Jr., they were the highest two in single car qualifying, hence they are locked into the 500. They've got nothing to worry about. It's all about getting your car, well, seeing if you need to make any improvements, getting things sorted for Sunday. And you could probably say the same for the rest of the field that are already locked in, the 32 established cars from last year. But in terms of those 16 go-homers, the top 4 in each session will advance into the Daytona 500. So let's quickly run through that and how this is going to work. So, as I said, it is 15 laps around the Daytona International Speedway. 15 laps, it's not a whole, it doesn't feel like a whole lot of time. So you got to really make your move where you can. So the top 4, as I said, finishes in each duel, go home finish, excluding the 60 and the 82, they will make the Daytona 500. If you are not in that top 4, then you are going home. If you're not a top 4 finisher in regards to go-homers, you are going home, unfortunately. So it's going to be very, very interesting to say the least. These duels, of course, determine the starting lineup from 3rd down to 42nd. We know the front row will belong to Brandon Bent, who will lead the field to green. Max Davis qualified 2nd, his teammate, and so he will start from 2nd to 500. Those two are locked in. Everybody else, every other starting position will be determined tonight, 3rd through 42nd. And then Duel 1 will be the inside lane for the Daytona 500 starting lineup. And then Duel 2 will be the outside lane starters for the Daytona 500. We'll have graphics updating throughout the night that will show where all the go-homers are relative to the other go-homers and where they end up in the grand scheme of things. And so, Duel 1 is up first here at Daytona. We've got Brandon Bent on the pole here in car number 27, the fastest car in qualifying, 15th career pole for Brandon, and he's going to lead the field to green, of course. The Season 4 Daytona 500 winner and 2-time Cup Series champion. He's joined by one of the great stories of single car qualifying, Sarah Taylor on the outside of the front row. Taylor locked into the 500 with that 3rd place run in qualifying, start 2nd here tonight. The Nicotech cars qualified extremely well. 3 of them inside the top 4 here in this session on starting lineup here tonight. Nathan Smith in the 48 alongside Ludovic Charette, both new to the team as well. Kyler Sustrape was one of the hard luck stories of single car qualifying as Taylor bumped him out of position right towards the end of that session. He starts 5th in car number 5 for Davenport Performance Racing, looking to race his way in alongside the 04 for Premier Racing Motorsports, Rogel Dawn. Braden Perez in the number 11 for Velocistars alongside rookie Jerry Chen, who was the highest Gifford car in qualifying by some margin too. And then rounding out the top 10, Carson Miller in the 12, looking to race his way into the 500 for O2 Racing, his own team, who only run a part-time schedule this year. And Leonard Koshma in the 03 for Team Williams, last year's Daytona 500 pole sitter. Caleb Rose in the 32 and Benny Watson in the 96 were the two drivers that battled out for the win last year in this duel, and it was Rose who beat Watson to the win. So they start alongside each other from row 6. Jared Oren in the 99 is alongside the 42, Nathan Meyer. Meyer looking to make the 500. trying to join his teammate Sarah Taylor, who of course locked her way in. Meyer needs to race his way in car 42 for Mahindra Motorsports. Alex Sanvitale in the 37 for Hedgehog Motorsports, alongside the 2 of Jake Rogers for Premier Racing Motorsports. Season 5 Daytona 500 champion Eli Bright starts a bit further back than he would like, from 17th, alongside the 71 of Henrik Ward, the runner-up in last year's championship, the runner-up here at Daytona, hoping to win both this year, the 500 and the championship. Tim Simmons and OS Joshi, teammates at Mateus Bento Racing, start of row 10. Both cars will need to race their way in here tonight. The 53 of Aris Yuko in the PRM Dodge, another PRM Dodge, alongside another Pacific Racing Toyota of Anthony McClure, 2 rookies on the grid. Dominic Anthony had a terrible qualifying run, but he starts from 23rd tonight, hoping to make some amends. And the final 2 drivers here in the grid, Patrick Raven in the 86 to start from 24th, and Josh Williamson in the 17 for Imperial Motorsports. Both drivers looking to race their way into the Daytona 500. And so, with all that being said, I welcome Isaac Nichols to the booth. We'll get these cars to roll off. Isaac, I'll throw it over to you now. Who do you think is going to win Kroger Duel number 1 and get the victory here at Daytona?
Well, this race is going to be quite the unpredictable race, I'd say. There's, as I said before, a lot of people who will probably be vying for this, get their positions up, and there's a lot of great drivers in this field. But I think the number 12, Carson Miller, might be able to eke one out here. He is an incredible driver across many different places. We've seen him do really well, and this place is no different whatsoever. I think he'll really show his form and show his pace throughout the whole season, really. But I think he might be able to take this one away, and I may be a bit biased because his last name is Miller, but we'll reserve judgment on that for now.
Well, to be fair, drivers with Miller as the last name have done pretty well, not just in this series, but in other series as well. So, not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. And, of course, he did finish second quickest overall in practice. So, he's in with a good shout, I think, in this one. You may have seen the race facts already and track facts and all that. 15 laps around Daytona, no pit stops, and of course, going to determine who will make the Daytona 500 here tonight. It's been a long time since we went Cup Series racing. You've got to go back to May when we had the New Smyrna Showdown to end the season. A lot's changed since then, but we're looking forward to this one. It's the first race of the season. It's not a points-paying race, but it is a race nonetheless. Base car will dive onto pit road here right now, and there it goes. Brandon Bent, Sarah Taylor, 2 drivers, different end of the spectrum in terms of Cup Series experience. To lead the field to green here at Kroger Duel number 1, green flag. We're underway here at Daytona. Here they come to complete the first lap of action. It'll be Brandon Bent, pole sitter for the Daytona 500, who leads the first lap here tonight ahead of Nathan Smith, who have put out a bit of a gap back to Brain Perez in the 3rd position. You've got Carson Miller there on the inside as well. Big gap between Smith and Perez, but now Smith on the inside of Brandon Bent going for the lead here on lap 2.
Yeah, it was a great start from the front 2 Nicotech cars, and they eked out a gap, but Nathan Smith now wanting to take that top position. Bent nothing to lose in this race, so he's happy, I guess, to let Smith have a go at the win, but of course he wouldn't mind winning this one himself, but all that battling has brought the rest of the field back towards them, and now the number 99 of Gerard Oren is in the prime seat to try and go for a position on Smith, as he is now ahead of the number 12, of the number 11, and is right on the back bumper of the number 48 now, and might be looking to... No, Sam Vitale goes to the inside, and he's gonna take that position away from Oren, and he's gonna try and look for a way around Nathan Smith.
Yep, Smith out in front, but Sam Vitale, of course, the Hedgehog cars ran so well in the 500 last year. Here he goes down to the inside. Sam Vitale finished 7th in the 500 last year, so he'll be someone to keep an eye on Sunday, as he's on the inside for the lead. 2x2 throughout the whole field, except for Josh Williamson, unfortunately in the back, straggling just a little bit. But Sam Vitale looks like he's going to get himself clear of Nathan Smith, to the point here at Daytona, with the Season 5 Daytona 500 winner in Eli Bright on the inside. And one of the go-homers, Tim Simmons, is looking to get to the inside here in the 88. But he's not going to be able to. He's going to slot back into second on that inside. Bit of 3 wide at the back of the field. Got Anthony McClure making his way forward on the inside of Koshma and Dawn. And now Koshma's going to slot in behind in terms of the go-homers here at the moment. So there's Josh Williamson, the 17. Started last, still last, unfortunately. Nathan Meyer in the 42, and Patrick Raven in the 86. So 3 of these drivers are going to go home. 5 are going to go home in Duel 2. So it'll be a little bit different in the way that one works, but it's go time here if you are the 42 and the 86. And Josh Williamson, he's got to try and close in. Still side by side for the lead. Bright working on Sam Vitale down the back.
Yeah, it's not really changed much at the front for the time being in these last couple laps, but Bright is definitely going to want to take that position away from Sam Vitale, and he's going to really need some help, because that inside, yes, you can get a bit of a run through the corners, but that outside is holding strong, so he's going to have to work together with Simmons on that inside if he really wants to make a move for the lead. And of course, he's at risk of himself being overtaken by the cars behind him if he's not too careful, but he's going to get back to the inside of Sam Vitale, try and make that work again, try and possibly have a run, but no, Sam Vitale still has that run on the outside, and at the moment it's a bit of a tug-of-war between these two as they try and vie for the top spot. And once again, Bright leads out of the exit of the corners, and Sam Vitale leads down the straights. So once again, need to try and get something working on that inside. They really can't get anything sorted out, and they're really going to have to sort something out if they want to make any progress to the front in this race.
Absolutely, it's just a deadlock at the moment between the front two. Sam Vitale's getting the push from those two Nicotech Hondas on the outside, and Bright's hanging tough on that inside. Saw some 3 wide back in there. OS Joshi in the 3. So you see Tim Simmons up there in the 88. Dale Jr. 2004 throwback, of course. This is a Dale Senior throwback from the 80s, and it's a great looking car. Both of them are great looking cars. Both of them in position to make the 500 right now. He's ahead of Henry Gore here in the 71. And Gore, of course, second in the 500 last year, second in the championship. He's making his way forward after what was not a great qualifying session. We look towards the back of the field, and Kyle Sastre here at the moment has just fallen out of that top 4, that go-home group that would get their way into the 500. He's just lost that spot to Nathan Meyer in the Mahindra Motorsports 42. But Sastre here on that outside, he was 9th quickest overall, and started 5th here in this race, and 3rd quickest go home. I missed out by a quarter of a tenth of a second in the end to Roberto Crown, and at the moment he is out of the 500, so not a good position for Sastre to be in with not a lot of time left. You got Raven back in there as well. He's also in position to miss out. Sarah Taylor's dropped back a long way, and then unfortunately Josh Williamson is still at the back of the field. But yeah, this deadlock continues at the front. Bright and San Vitale still going at it, and San Vitale continuing to get that run down the back and down the front, and able to continue to hold that race lead, but Bright continues to fight back on that inside. And then you got Koshma back in there, the 03, making it 3 wide, shuffling Rogers to the middle. So the drivers are trying to make some moves, but there's not a lot going on. You see Bright moving up the racetrack there in the 95.
Yeah, he won't want to keep that door open for too long, as that's a real big invitation for Simmons to take it if he gets to the right run. But look at this. Alex San Vitale, he's absolutely controlling this field at the moment. He's cleared Bright. He's got a bit of a gap to Smith behind, so, you know, he doesn't want to keep that gap too much. But Rose is now going to make a move 3 wide to the inside, and this might start to shake things up, as that inside may not have the best run, but there's still that tandem of Simmons and Bright is still holding strong for now. And this is honestly the story of this whole race, but Rose is actually making progress on the inside now. He's moved up to the back of Simmons. He's now pushing Simmons into the middle, and he's going to try and take that inside. So this is the exact opportunity that someone had to take if they wanted to shake things up, and I think we might see some passing for the lead as this continues on.
Absolutely, and Simmons now shuffled to the middle. OS Joshi pushing the 32 to the front. Now we're getting a bit more 3 wide here in this race. San Vitale once again gets himself clear out in front. It's almost like a pyramid structure in a way. You got the single car on its own, then you got 2 cars that are on the inside, and actually it's not quite a pyramid anymore, because Nathan Smith is all over the back of San Vitale. He could have probably got himself clear if he wanted, but didn't want to cut down in front of Bryce, and so he hangs in right in front of his teammate Brandon Ben, of course. Bright now cuts down in front of Rose, and now Simmons is stuck in the middle in the 88. Not a great position for him to be in, but still position to make the 500 right now. OS Joshi is really desperate to make some moves. He's going to go 3 wide now. He's going to send Rose to the middle with a bit of assistance from Henrik War. So very, very interesting moves being made late on in this race. Gore on the inside. Nathan Meyer now in a good position. Patrick Raven as well, moving his way forward in terms of the go-home battle. There's Sustre in the 5. Josh Williamson's at the back of the pack, those two. And then it's, I want to say it's Carson Miller, your pick to win at the moment, is stuck on that outside, and he is in position to fail to make the 500. So not a good position for him to be in. They're 3 wide for second. Joshy's got it underneath the Bryce, and that may change things, the way things play out here in the front. But it's all good for San Vitale. He's still out in front here in this duel.
Yeah, absolutely. San Vitale has been the class of this race, and he may have to be really careful because he doesn't want to be stuck on this middle lane. It's probably the worst place to be in if you want to keep this lead. But he's doing a good job at the moment. But OS Joshi now side by side with San Vitale. This is his chance if he wants to get something going. But he's pushed to the middle, and here comes Henry Gore. He's finally made his way back to the front, and look at the run that he's got. He's almost got a car length there, but he's not quite able to clear just yet. Right on the quarter panel is Oz Joshi, stopping that from happening, but he's got a big enough gap where he's cleared Joshi, he can get to the middle, and he's got no one around him, top or bottom, and there he goes to the outside. He's going to try and defend this. He's got the 42 of Meyer now to his inside, and the white flag is out here.
White flag, 1 lap to go. Nathan Meyer in a great position here in the 42. Not just to try and win this race, but obviously to make the 500. He's in a good position. How about Watson? Taylor now on the move. Sustre now in position. He's been at the back all race. He's now moving his way forward. The go-home drivers. Williamson doesn't look like he's going to make it. Miller's on the inside of the 12. Not looking good for him. Tim Simmons now is dropping back in the 88. He's in position to miss the 500. You got Raven in the middle. It's all happening behind Nathan Meyer in the 42. Watson trying to get a run. He's not going to be able to. And Nathan Meyer, what a week for Mahindra Motorsports. Nathan Meyer is going to win Duel 1 here at Daytona, and he is going to race in the Daytona 500. on Sunday. What a race for the 42. What a finish there at the end. He timed it absolutely perfectly and is able to hold everybody back. And Nathan Myers, your winner of Kroger Duel number 1. And the drivers who are going home, unfortunately, Carson Miller in the number 12. Probably one of the big ones there. Tim Simmons was up there all night, inside the top 5 for a lot of it. He drops out of this Daytona 500 in the number 88. And then Josh Williamson, the 17, unfortunately was at the rear of the field all night. It was a tough night for him. But how about Nathan Meyer there, that number 42? And the BWT number 42 will race in the Daytona 500. Mahindra Motorsports, with 2 cars right up at the front with Taylor working away forward as well. But how about Nathan Meyer, Isaac? Timed it absolutely perfectly.
He absolutely did. Yeah, they really have quite the force to be reckoned with in this 500, I reckon, Mahindra. They've really showed it in this race. And, man, it really kicked off in those last few laps. And the real catalyst to that was Caleb Rose making it 3 wide. And once that happened, everyone took that opportunity. It was getting real aggressive in those last laps as they tried to vie for those last few spots. And it's a real heartbreak for those who were at the short end of the stick for that one. You know, Tim Simmons, who was out of the front, as you said, for quite a while. And yeah, that was pretty exciting at the end for sure.
Absolutely. And Nathan Myers, your race winner. The Mahindra Motorsports, I guess we're going to see what happens with the 6, but because that's in Duel 2. But Taylor finished 3rd overall in single car qualifying. Morgan ran very well in single car qualifying. He was right up there. And then Nathan Meyer actually didn't perform that well in single car qualifying. Ends up winning the Duel. So there you go. Nathan Meyer, you win. You see the final results on your screen ahead of Benny Watson. Henrik Waugh ended up in 3rd. So not a bad day, you'd say, all things considered, for Gifford. Could have been a lot worse for him. Sarah Taylor started 2nd, finished 4th. Not bad in the end. Alexander Vitale led the most laps. He ended up 5th. OS Joshi in the 500 for Mateus Bento Racing. Sustre, he was at the back for much of the race. He timed it pretty well. He ends up 7th. He is in the 500 for Charlie Davenport of Davenport Performance. Nathan Smith in 8th. Eli Bright and Anthony McClure round out the top 10. Brandon Bent, our pole sitter, ends up in the 11th position ahead of Caleb Rose, who, as you said, made the moves there late. And Patrick Raven ends up in 16th in the 86, and that is enough to qualify for the Daytona 500. So Patrick Raven for Durrani Racing is in. Tim Simmons finishes up in 20th. He dropped back late in that race and unfortunately misses the Daytona 500. Carson Miller in 21st. He misses the 500, so he doesn't get that many opportunities. Only 12 attempts this year for Miller, and he's failed to make the 500. So that's disappointing for him. And then Josh Williamson rounds out the field in the number 17. He was basically there all night, unfortunately. He's missed the 500 for Imperial Motorsports. That's it for Duel number 1. Well done to Nathan Meyer in Mahindra Motorsports. And we'll see how Duel 2 goes coming up here in a second.
And here we are for Duel number 2 here at Daytona. We've got Tyson Gifford now in the booth. We've had some technical difficulties here tonight, unfortunately, so apologies to everyone for all the drama, everything that's happened so far. But Tyson, I know you said before we got on air that historically there's a calm duel and a chaotic duel. Do you reckon that first duel was the calm duel, or do you reckon that was the chaotic one?
I would say that was pretty calm. We did go 3 abreast throughout the whole field for a little bit, but looking at this one now, we have 10 go or go home drivers. So we're going to see 5 people go home in this duel. 5 is quite a lot. And a lot of those guys are sitting, I would have to say, let me look at the starting lineup. A lot of these drivers are going to be starting below the top 10. So we've got 4 people starting in the top 10, and then everybody else, the bottom 6, starting below it. This could be shades of a little bit of messiness going on, to say the least. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we can keep some cars clean. I certainly want to see some cars clean, but we could see a little bit of shenanigans with a few laps to go.
Yeah, potentially. Especially if the previous one was the calm one, and who knows what will happen to this one. We're looking forward to this race. 15 laps, as we talked about earlier. And we'll see who can race their way into the 500. Of course, as you said, 5 of the go-homers will miss the race, and then 4 will be locked in. You see Roberto Crown there. We'll talk about him in a second. He's already locked in. But Max Davis had a great lap in qualifying. He starts on the outside of the front row for the 500, but he leads the field to green here in duel number 2. He'll be joined by Jack Haas in the 00, who probably surprised himself with with the 4th place qualifying result. He starts second here tonight. How about Fitzwater Australia Racing? Will Parrish did very, very well. He starts from 3rd alongside Roberto Crown Jr. Crown Jr. is locked into the 500, so he's got nothing to worry about in car number 82. Zyler Burton in the 59, the 2nd Fitzwater Ford, starts alongside Nathan Morgan. Well, if Mahindra Motorsports, they've had a pretty good week. Nathan Meyer won the last duel. And then obviously Sarah Taylor qualified her way in single car qualifying. Nathan Morgan was pretty fast in single car qualifying, so watch for car 6 here in this one. He needs to race his way in. Bernardo de Oliveira, saying can be said for him. He needs to race his way in for Big Motorsports. I think all 3 of their cars are in this race. Eric Monaco in the 52 to start alongside for Hairgel Motorsports. Logan Williams in the 33 alongside Matthew Hubert in the number 8. Carson Green in the number 40 starts from the 11th position. He needs to race his way in alongside Kelly Lee in the number 21. Joe Ratkowski needs to race his way in the 2nd Big Motorsports Dodge alongside Tyler Jericho. Good buddies there on row 7. Our defending Daytona 500 champion Travis Crampton to start from the 15th position alongside Alejandro Cruz in the 29. Cruz hoping to make the 500. Carson Miller just missed it in the sister O2 racing car, so the 29 hoping to make the Great American Race. Duncan Ward in the 93 is locked in. Nicholas Samudio in the 19 is not. Samudio from the 18th position. Avery Alford in the number 4 starts alongside one of your cars, Alexander Rowe here in the number 51, a former pole sitter of the 500. And then Thomas Troxel in the 62 and Ellie Fondati in the 09. A lot of work for Evans Ross Racing to do. Didn't have a great session in qualifying. Leland Hill and Emily York Watson both need to race their way in. And Miles Inamatsu in the 91 also. He does not need to race his way in. He starts at the rear of the field. But also, I did mention Alfred needs to race his way in car number 4. So as we get these cars to roll off here at the Daytona International Speedway for duel number 2, I guess we'll ask the question, because you said before that, because unfortunately we didn't have the audio, but you were picking between Brandon Bent and Kyler Sustre. Sustre worked his way back up towards the front late. We didn't see a lot of Brandon Bent. So, does that change the way you're feeling about Duel 2 and what these guys might be able to do from the front?
Imagine for Max Davis starting on the pole here, the only Nicotech car in this one. We saw early in the duel the Nicotech cars were commanding the field for a small portion of the race. So I would have to imagine that you can easily see Max Davis dropping his way back. But we've got 2 go or go home drivers in 6th and 7th, Nathan Morgan, Bernardo de Oliveira, as well as Roberto Crown Jr. sitting up here. They were quite quick. I will have to say my gut has to go with the T9. Every time I see a Fitzwater Australia car, I have to say that they're a favorite here at one of these plate tracks. So I'll go with Zyler Burton, a rookie here at Daytona, his first ever plate racing start. Let's see how he does. I'm going to put my money on him. I like to gamble a little bit with some underdogs, so hopefully we'll see this WeatherTech Ford out front, but hopefully it's a clean race. As I said before, don't want to see some pocketbooks being opened after this one.
Indeed, and I don't want to be DQing guys if they're off the pace here in a dual race. That's the one thing I don't want to be doing. We did a couple of DQs last year, but not for the dual race, but for the 500. Don't want to be doing that here tonight. It's Max Davis and Jack Haas, a couple of good friends in their own right. So we've got a couple of really interesting row combinations. But Max Davis, Jack Haas are going to lead the field to green. And this is going to be a very interesting race, because if Duel 1 was the calm one, this one could go any which way, as to how this one plays out. Base car will make the left turn on the pit road. There it goes. Davis and Haas to lead the field to green. Waiting. There's the green flag. And we are underway here. Kroger Duel number 2 here at Daytona.
Already we see the Nicotech car getting pushed early on by Will Parrish. We've got two Fitzwater Australia cars linked up nose to tail here, but the 43 gets the big jump out of the two of them. The 13 gets a massive lead. I think the 43 is going to swoop underneath him. There he goes. So a Fitzwater Australia car going to the front, proving me right in some way. Here comes a big run from Zyler Burton, as well as it looks like that was Fernando de Oliveira jumping up to the middle lane, had a big shove from Logan Williams. We might be 3 wide for the lead here on lap number 1. Stuart, I tell you what, we had our calm duel. This one is getting dicey early on.
Right away, and I figured the teammates might work together, but clearly that's not what's happening, and they're making a bit of contact. They're getting pretty close. They're going to go 4 wide, and that's not what you want to do. Logan Williams is the one who's making the move down on that inside. Man. That is very, very close there, and they really need to... I think Parrish probably needs to get himself clear of Davis. He should be able to move up now, and he does. Geez, that's a bold move on lap 2 of a duel race. But Logan Williams to the front here in the number 33, or trying to get to the front, rather, but they're 3 by 3 at the front. Look at this. Joe Rutkowski on the inside. Good start for these guys who started in the mid-pack. Rutkowski, Crampton, Ward, Alford, they're all on the inside moving their way up. Right here at the start of this race. But Logan Williams in the 33 is going to get himself clear of Burton at least. He's got Parrish still on the outside. But he's going to take the lead here on lap 2 at Daytona.
Good start from Carson Green as well, someone that we didn't mention early on there. He was third in line in that middle lane before Logan Williams jumped up into there. He found a real big head of steam. Now he's still stuck in that sucker hole behind. You're sitting in a pretty good spot deal, but so far they are on lap number 3 of Duel 2. One of those go or go home guys for NBR. We saw that they had paced earlier in Duel 1, that 40 car, with no teammates. He's going to have to work around with some corporate teammates and some unfriendly foes to try and get his way into the 500.
Definitely. He's stuck in the middle, unfortunately, at the moment, but seems like you're able to make your way forward, rotate around a bit more than what we saw in that first duel, as Rutkowski to the front. Here comes Travis Crampton with a forward teammate there in Duncan Ward. Different teams, of course. NS Racing, Evans Ross Racing. And Evans Ross Racing, I think they said, Echo said herself that she was worried about qualifying, and I could see why, given the way they qualified. But they're working their way forward here at the front at Daytona. All 3 cars, of course, locked into the 500. One car that's not locked into the 500 is Avery Alford in the number 4. Sustre raced his way in. This is the sister car. We saw the 5 before, and now car number 4. Working his way forward with Rowe and Troxel. All working their way up here on that inside. Emily York-Watson. Durrani Racing got Patrick Raven into the 500. This is their second car. York-Watson was fast in practice, so we'll see where she ends up, but it's very, very close here at the front, as Ward has got himself cleared out in front of the field. Alford, York-Watson, De Oliveira, and Rutkowski, I think, are the 4 at the moment that would be racing in the 500, so very, very tight up and down this field on lap 5.
I'm hearing over the radio that Max Davis, Jack Haas, they're working together to drop to the back to keep their cars clean. They're sitting on that top row here. But we've got a little bit of a battle up front, especially with the 4th Avery Alford, another rookie, their first time at a plate track here. And one advantage that this Duel 2 usually has is that they've got a little bit more rubber on the track, and they also have a little bit more data, being able to see what people were able to do, what worked, what didn't, and the spotters have been up on that spotter stand practically all evening. So these spotters are really able to give these drivers a bit better of a grasp of where you can go, where you can't go, how the runs have been taking drivers to the front, to the back, if the middle has been working. So a lot more data that these guys can ingest and give to their drivers, so that this duel can really be a little more aggressive. Not necessarily something that the drivers do on their own right, but just having that extra knowledge of the first duel already being out on track typically leads for duel number 2 to not only be more aggressive, but also more racing.
Indeed. Here comes the second of 3. Well, actually, all 3 of the Evans Ross cars are approaching the top 10 at the moment. So, Ward out in front. Fondati up to second on debut. That's a nice go for the 09. And then Miles Inamatsu, who was the dead slowest car in single car qualifying, well, he's working his way into the top 10 as well. So they've clearly got more race pace than they do qualifying pace, which is good to see for that team down there, Evans Ross Racing. In terms of the drivers at the moment that are looking to race their way in, Alejandro Cruz looking to make it 4 wide. We saw that earlier on. That was a bit dicey. So Samudio at the moment, and York Watson. So York Watson's the highest of the Go Oklahoma. Samudio, Alfred, and then it's close. I think it's going to be close. It depends on where they are through the turns. But right now it's Alejandro Cruz that is ahead of Joe Rutkowski. He's got the 4th and final spot. But Leland Hill here in the 70. Imperial Motorsports did not have a good run with Josh Williamson. Looks like Leland Hill's got that car a little bit more dialed in. The number 70 working her way forward. Right now still on the outside looking in as they run. But for the lead...
We got to move for the lead here.
Yeah. How about the teammates? Fondati on the inside here of Duncan Ward. The 2 teammates at Evans Ross Racing going for the lead. This will be pleasing for Echo. We'll be very happy with that. And it'll be close at the line as Ward holds on, at least for the time being. But now the pack's close back into them. And here comes Samudio with a bit of a push here from the other Evans Ross Racing car of Inamatsu.
I will say that was kind of an ill-timed move from the 09 there. They had momentum to get around Duncan Ward, but wasn't able to make the pass stick. They had that pretty healthy gap out in front on the back straightaway. Got the run, went side by side, and then that allowed the pack to close in because, I mean, they just were side by side through practically a mile of the track, and now they've let the whole field catch back up to them. Granted, it is an entire Evans Ross Racing 1, 2, 3 for 3 wide for the top, as well as the 91 on the bottom, but still not exactly what you'd love to see, especially with some go or go home guys kind of sitting back here. The 19 for Big Motorsports really wants to get a push out in front, especially with Emily York Watson, Leland Hill coming through. Carson Green is back there in the middle, but we'll have to see how this all plays out. 3 by 3 by 3 all throughout the field. No lollygaggers here this time.
Indeed, and they're pretty stagnant out the front, but Samudio's got a big push, and Samudio wants to make his way into the 500. Made every race last year for Seminole Motors, but go Oklahoma this year, and now with the opportunity in this 19, right now running in a very strong position, 3 wide on that inside. But now they kind of broke it up there a little bit. York Watson got shoved to the outside, and now Duncan Ward, Fondati don't really have a whole heap of assistance behind them. And look at that. I mean, all 3 of the Evans Ross Racing cars are now 3 by 3. Samudio cannot get clear of the 09. Here comes Alejandro Cruz thinking about going to the middle. He thinks better of it. Goes back down to the inside. He's in position at the moment with Samudio, York Watson, and the 70 of Leland Hill right now is in the 500. As we're coming to 4 to go next time. Nathan Morgan also on the move forward. Keep an eye on the 6. The Mahindra Motorsports cars clearly have got something to prove here at Daytona as they're 3 wide at the line. Ward leads it, coming to 4 to go now.
The Mahindra Motorsports cars absolutely have something to prove, but this 19 car is really holding strong on the bottom. And I would have to say all 3 of these Evans Ross Racing cars are holding strong 3 by 3 all together, kind of bottlenecking the field in good ways and bad ways. If you're a driver back in the pack, we haven't seen any movement that's allowed drivers to get up to the front. But if you're sitting in the front, like the 4 of Avery Alford, like the 78 of Emily York Watson, like Leland Hill, nobody is moving around, and all of these guys that are go or go home drivers, Nathan Morgan as well, they're all sitting right here and hoping that they can just hold tight. 3 laps to go here at Daytona.
Alejandro Cruz just moved up to the middle. That may not do him any favours. Leland Hill got straight to the inside in the number 70. But yeah, as you said, it's a bottleneck throughout this field. Samudio still in that prime position right now in terms of the Go Oklahomas. Same with Cruz and York, Watson and Hill. They're the ones at the moment, but you got Morgan on the inside in the 6. Alfred in the middle. It's pretty close here at the moment, and some of those cars that qualified well are also on the inside, but with the way the bottleneck is at the front, I don't think they're really going to have a chance at getting this race win. But Samudio, Fondati and Ward still 3 wide. So Cruz has now moved up to the outside in the 29 as Ward leads at the stripe yet again. It's come to 2 to go now, so it's showtime here for all these drivers to try and make the 500. Especially the Go Homers trying to put their best foot forward. As now Fondati dropping back, does not have a lot of assistance from Alfred. Samunio's going to get clear of the 09. That might open the door for Inamatsu and Hill in the number 70. As Duncan Ward has been really, really impressive here in this 93, but now it's a matter of whether or not the 91 can get to the inside of Samunio. Samunio threw a bit of a block. Can't quite hold off, and here comes the 91 of Inamatsu. That's going to be good here for the 93 of Ward. He's got a big shot from Alejandro Cruz. White flag here at duel number 2 as Ward gets down to the inside. It's showtime here. White flag. 1 lap to go. Cruz is going to get clear for second in the 29. He's looking good to make the 500 here for O2 Racing. Here comes Nathan Morgan in the 6 on the inside now of Hill. So the moves are being made. This is for the final transfer spot in the 500. Hill versus Morgan. Mahindra Motorsports looking to get all 3 cars in. Imperial Motorsports just hoping to get one of their cars in. Duncan Ward out in front here in the 93. He has dominated Duel 2. But here comes Cruz trying to close in. Samudio can't quite get clear of Watson. Inamatsu rather. York Watson's going to be safe. And looks like Morgan's going to get that final spot. As out of turn 4, Duncan Ward in the 93 comes down to the stripe to win Kroger Duel number 2. With Cruz in tow, Alejandro Cruz has made the Daytona 500 for O2 Racing. That's a great result for him. He makes it for the 2nd year running. Samudio is in. York Watson is in. And Nathan Morgan gets the final spot with a late race surge to get up into position. And what a heartbreaker for Leland Hill and Imperial Motorsports. Both Imperial Motorsport Dodgers have missed the Daytona 500. And I think they're the only team, unfortunately, that will not have an entry in this 500. That's a massive shame. But what a drive from Duncan Ward, and what a performance from Evans Ross Racing. They'll be right up there in the 500.
All 3 Evans Ross Racing cars are going to be starting within that top 10, which is going to be a huge help, especially considering the Nicotech group kind of got a little bit split up in their duels. So it was a phenomenal race, a phenomenal run here from the 93 of Duncan Ward, from 17th on grid, making his way to the front and did not let go of that lead. And a heartbreaker indeed from Imperial Motorsports, who they were looking quite strong. And it's unfortunate to see that they were not able to make their way into the show here tonight.
Absolutely. It's a real shame for them, and they'll have to come back strong in a couple of weeks at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and we'll see how they fare there. But you see the final results on your screen now. Duncan Ward led the most laps here tonight in Duel 2, and he's suddenly one to watch here in this race. He did what Addison Steinbach did last year. Very, very impressive for Duncan Ward. Ahead of Alejandro Cruz. I wasn't sure if moving to the middle and then the outside was going to work for Cruz, but he got himself clear and got himself second. So nice driving by the 29. O2 Racing will be in the 500. Nicholas Samudio in third for Big Motorsports. So Big Motorsports only get 1 car in the 500. Both Rutkowski and De Oliveira miss out, but Samudio is in ahead of Miles Inamatsu. And Emily York Watson, those 2 started right at the back to finish 4th and 5th. It's a nice effort. Nathan Morgan, so all 3 Mahindra Motorsport cars in the Daytona 500. Eli Fondati, Eric Monaco, Thomas Troxel, Roberto Crown Jr., of course, was already locked in. He rounded out the top 10. The rest of the results, Leland Hill, probably the bad luck story. Same with Imperial Motorsport, the tough luck story. Lots of tough luck stories here in this in these dual races. Leland Hill in the 11th position. Looked like for a while she was going to get it. Just misses out. Avery Alford in 14th as well. Misses out, unfortunately. And we flip over to the last page, and some disappointing results here. Carson Green, we never really saw the 40 in this race. Rutkowski and De Oliveira dropped way to the back, and they will also miss the Daytona 500. Pretty big names there too, Rutkowski and De Oliveira. They'll be disappointed to have missed out, but... Well, Tyson, final thoughts on duel number 2. You will see the starting lineup on your screen right now for the Daytona 500. I don't have the calculations off the top of my head. But Tyson, what do you think, based on what we saw here tonight in the duels, what do you think is going to happen in the 500?
I mean, I think we're going to have one heck of a Daytona 500 here. We just had two incredible duels, and with all 42 cars onto the track, I think it's going to be quite something to watch here. We did see a lot of storylines play out. Nicotech definitely showing their hand a little bit, but hiding what they really can do early in the waiting for the 500. We did see the Evans Ross racing cars. They were certainly ones to watch. Miles and Matthew from last on grid was able to drive his way to a top 5 here in 4th. I think that's just very, very, very impressive to see all 3 start finishing in the top 4, which means that all 3 are going to start in that top 10 of the Daytona 500, all of them on that outside row. It could very easily be they move the 29 out of the way, and those 3 could work their way to the front. So we'll definitely see a very interesting race come Sunday. I certainly will be looking forward to watching it. Glad to have spent the last few days up here in the booth, but I'll be putting on the headset and sitting atop the pit box for Sunday. And we definitely have some tricks up our sleeves, and we have 4 very good plate racer drivers that are able to work our way to the front. Jerry Chen was able to get some valuable punches under his skin, was able to run well, and he definitely needed the laps to get in. And now we'll see how it all plays out Sunday. The big money's on Sunday. The real trophy is yet to be earned, so I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and of course our Daytona 500 will be Sunday, and that'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern to kick off the new season of Gratton Cup Series. Points racing for real. We now know the 42 drivers who will race in the Daytona 500 and who will crown themselves champion here at the World Centre of Racing. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Daytona 500 coming your way on Sunday here on the channel. Big thank you once again to Tyson Gifford for joining me, even though we had those technical difficulties in Duel 1. And we had some technical difficulties in Duel 2 as well with the ticker, as it turned out, but at least with the name. But anyway, it is what it is. I'll get those sorted for the 500. But thanks again, Tyson, for joining me, and signing off here for the Daytona International Speedway. Congratulations to our Duel winners here tonight. Duncan Ward, the winner of Duel 2, Nathan Meyer, the winner of Duel 1, and to everybody who made their way into the 500. So congratulations to those 2 drivers, and we'll see everybody on Sunday for the Daytona 500.